Y por eso detiene las acciones Cabero, ¿eh?
Infaltable.
Cuéntenos, Gastón. Lindo el perrito, ¿ah?
Pero esa es la marca férrea que se necesita en el partido con el balón, Gastón.
Oh, who's a good boy? Who's a good boy? Wait, hang on. Is that the official football for the Chilean Premier League? Where did you even get that? And a ball boy? What have I told you about biting people? Oh my god, Archie. Not the corner flag as well. That's just ridiculous. And the goal frame? Brother, is that the entire stadium in the garden? Yo guys, it is your boy Earnin here, and you are watching FTW. This is of course the series where I bring to you the best and more frequently the worst of what football has to offer during the last 7 days. But what's been kicking off in the world this week? Look, I promise I'm not one of those weirdos outside the palace, but after millions were spent on an old man that we don't know getting a new shiny hat last week, the royals are at it again, as Prince Harry and Meghan Markle were almost involved in a catastrophic car chase.
This was the banker. This was the one that couldn't fail. This was one that's never failed.
Harry was at the wheel getting away from the chaser. He's familiar with the Royals' game. He's not gonna let this happen again.
Don't fucking try any of that shit, because I've been here before. I'm a professional. This is what I did.
The car was as sideways as a Royals family tree, with him drifting the BMW around. Not the first time Royals have been inside a German. Thankfully, everyone was okay, but it does explain why the Grim Reaper was at the coronation. What are you saying? Onto the football though now, and... Holy shit!
Dale me gusta y suscríbete ahora mismo.
Right, yeah. Cheers for that, Pep. Manchester City and Real Madrid faced off at the Etihad for a place in the Champions League final. Pep v Carlo. Shampoo versus whatever he uses on his face, because it's all one thing. So Pep told Rio Ferdinand that Man City would win. He's been reading the script again. We won. Oh my god! Manchester City not only beat reigning Champions League champs Real Madrid, but dismantled, embarrassed and destroyed Los Blancos. A 4-0 victory was the score here through Bernardo Silva, an Eder Militao own goal, and Julian Alvarez. Real Madrid just did not turn up for this at all. After 25 minutes, they'd barely completed 20 passes. I'll tell you why though. Pep's going through tactics and Carlo's doing the power of friendship. You've got Pep discussing his team's shape, whilst Carlo and Real are at a ball pit. No more friendship for these lot, I can't lie. Anyone from the UK scoring this much on a Eurovision week, by the way, is completely unheard of. And our -6 points go to... the United Kingdom. Thank God Edison was actually alive. I didn't see him for the whole first half. Off of Real Madrid's plane to England, and it was all looking normal. Then it gets to Carlo Ancelotti and Militao. Get this poor man a stair lift. The thing is, Luka Modric needs one as well. Him and Toni Kroos really put the mid into midfield. This brother has bunions, I know he does. Courtois was not happy with the Croatian after watching him arthritis about for half an hour.
There is no passion, there is no vision, there is no aggression.
And honestly, Thibaut was the only one keeping this in single digits. But he did have to stoop to reminding Kevin De Bruyne about his ex to try and distract him. Kevin was not pleased.
Teachers have souls. I go to church. I'm a Christian.
It was genuine domination. Benzema thought he was working from home. Jack Grealish v Carvajal was crazy. Vinicius is Vincent Jr. now. Rodrigo, you're Roger now, boss. Eder Militao had a confession for Carlo at half-time.
I ain't gonna lie, I'm getting cooked.
But the first 45 are done now, alright? Alfie Haaland's thrown some food about, and Pep's seen Carlo put both his eyebrows up at the break. But in the end, it didn't matter. Poor Real Madrid subs and poor performances overall meant Man City continued to boss the game and scored 2 more late on. These lot are winning the treble. It's up to Inter and United to stop them winning it. We're doomed, lads. On Real Madrid, and a rare off day for them in the Champions League, one of the worst performances I've seen them put in a big game. Whereas Manchester City, who are ramping into the form of their entire campaign, look undefeatable. That potential Man City treble is even more on the cards now after Arsenal lost 3-0 to Brighton in the Prem, meaning they've all but surrendered the title to Guardiola's side.
It's time to go!
Arsenal were defeated emphatically by De Zerbi's men, who was loving it, knee sliding down the touchline, but the Brighton boss has firmly fucked those trousers. He'll need to go dry cleaners immediately. I suppose they're always gonna get dirty. Do you get it? Because the Gunners are... yeah, that'll be £12.50. Arsenal have been defeated by Brighton again, haunted by the ghost of Neil Maupay.
You're a cheat. I hope Brighton get relegated.
Brighton was so good though, man. They took their chances, and after Leandro Trossard forced a move in January, it was his mistake that led to their second. I'm afraid to say, Arsenal fans, It's over.
Not happy at all.
Gunner supporters are going to be mentally preparing themselves for going into work after saying they'd win the league.
What have I got myself into? I am fucking shitting myself.
One fan printed off a Champions 23 shirt earlier on in the campaign and is now selling it for free on eBay. Aymeric Laporte knows it's pretty much done already with this tweet just after full time. It's a shithousery award for the Spaniard. Manchester City security won't be convinced when Mikel Arteta comes to the bus tour, claiming a 50% league title sell-on bonus.
You're taking the piss. Please leave.
Gary Neville was a big fan of this result after calling the bottle months ago.
Oh, a little bit of football humour.
But is it a bottle? I mean, you know, at the end of the day, Arsenal weren't even expected to win the title from the get-go. But at the end of the day, being this far clear and dropping points against sides like Southampton and West Ham, they probably should have had this wrapped up. Arsenal flopped at the chance to beat Man City in the Premier League, but Inter have to work out how to do it in the Champions League. After they won a Milan derby semi-final 3-0, and I'll be real, this was one of the worst Champions League semis ever. Matteo Darmian in a Champions League final might legitimately be an all-time low for football. But Inter do deserve it, with Lautaro Martinez scoring in the second leg to secure victory. The result sees Inter into a first Champions League final since 2010. Nicolo Barella is so skillful he could nutmeg an entire body, but as I said, it was not great for the neutral on TV. Not that presenter Kate Abdo knew what channel they were on.
There are some other people who aren't so blessed to be here tonight. You have Fox Sports, we're on CBS, I apologize.
We're all gonna get sacked.
So sorry.
Is there any jobs going to Fox?
You know,
Thierry's just distracted trying to flirt with her on live telly, but honestly, Milan were poor here. Rafael Leao was not his usual self. Trying to get Olivier Giroud to score a goal was becoming painful, and so it sets up a European final v Man City. United fans will be supporting Inter for the final in Istanbul.
Internazionale.
Romelu Lukaku is in a Champions League final and won't want to hear it from Todd Boehly when Chelsea ask him to come home.
Listen, we're out here. Suck all your mothers.
But this could be bad, ladies and gentlemen. Haaland v Darmian, high scoring 9. Now, back in England, and gut-wrenching news for Brentford, as top scorer and starman Ivan Toney's been banned for 8 months for over 200 betting offences. Tell you what though, he's the real winner when he finds out his bet on him getting banned comes in.
Easy money, free money.
So many offences, mate. This isn't Bet365. This is 365 bets. He's banned from all football activity, you know. He's going to be fuming finding out he can't play Football Manager till January. The FA will be ruthless when they catch him copping a 96-97 Lazio kit from Classic Football shirts. What, not even in the garden? Fuck's sake, okay, alright, say less. At least when he's forced to cancel his BT subscription, it means no more Steve McManaman. The thing is though, 8 months, I get the precedent, but when you look at bans that have been given to other Premier League footballers for other offences, we're talking intentionally hurting a player, we're talking attacking a fan, we're talking racial abuse. It's nowhere near as bad as this. It's a lot of offences, I get it, but football is a sport that is wholly reliant on the betting industry. Brentford are sponsored by a betting company, for God's sake. It's hypocritical. Now, it's been a big old week for Manchester United, with yet another bid coming in from Sheikh Jassim to buy the club for $5.5 billion. The Glazers are creasing, realising they can just stick another zero on the figure each time.
$5,000.
We try 8,000, Kevin.
All right, let's do 10.
10?
You want to do that?
Were there any more Manchester investment and the pavements are going to be gold? Newton Heath's going to be looking crazy in 2028. 0161 might be a telephone code. It's also the average amount of supercars owned per square mile in 5 years. Oh, 161. Meanwhile, United are linked with former Red Sadio Mane, who struggled to hit the ground running at Bayern Munich. I feel like this is a disaster waiting to happen though, especially when he sees Marcus Rashford with a slightly grown out afro and mistakes him for Sane. Here's what Sadio sees when he reads UTD. There'll be fights every week, bro. Anthony's got a tattoo on his neck. Meanwhile, Sadio will have Casemiro on his. We'll take a quick detour over to Spain, though, now. Unas sacapuntas. As Barcelona have been crowned La Liga champions with a 4-2 win over Espanyol. The celebrations were wild, with club president Joan Laporta gassed in the dressing room. This guy's hips didn't bend once. Espanyol fans were not as keen watching their side get slapped from the crowd, and a few ultras took it a little bit further, chasing Barca players off the pitch as they were celebrating their title win in their ground. Look, I don't want to condone this at all. It's a disgrace. You can't chase players off the pitch. But what did Barca expect? You're on the ground of your city rivals doing up ring-a-ring-a roses, while Espanyol could get relegated from the league.
As you can see, the more you fuck around, the more you're going to find out.
On the bus tour for their title win, and one fan asked Pedri to sign their bananas because he's from the Canary Islands and they're famous for that. This is a 9th straight title for Robert Lewandowski. He's in the pub celebrating as we speak. And Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang gets himself a title too, despite only playing 9 minutes this season. Is this a Make-A-Wish campaign? Well, they've basically done it to mark how good he was for Barca last season, and obviously the fact that he's technically played this year means he's entitled to a medal, and he was on his way to collect it, having literally sniffed grass for a quarter of an hour this year. Back in the Premier League, and Liverpool's return to form and Champions League chase is continuing. Curtis Jones, I'm sorry.
I owe you an apology. I wasn't really familiar with your game.
That's the first time anyone scored 2 in a game for Liverpool since Wout Faes. Trent Alexander-Arnold scored an absolute banger here. He's back on fire, I can't lie. What a day for the Scousers. Him and Curtis went out for a meal after.
This is only £5 chicken burger and chips. Such a bargain and proper nice as well.
And it was a lovely moment for Bobby Firmino, who got chanted at for 2 hours by Liverpool fans. See, we do respect royalty after all. Another man who's leaving the Premier League is Granit Xhaka, out of Arsenal to head over to Bayer Leverkusen. He wants a new challenge, but deserves to play in the Champions League for me. Mikel Arteta was trying to stop him, but it's been a roller coaster of a career for the Swiss that genuinely only someone over the height of 5'7" can get on. I am sorry, Tariq. Arsenal want Declan Rice and Moises Caicedo to replace him, which means Todd Boehly is about to bid $459 million for the pair of them. At Chelsea, and Maurizio Pochettino is close to agreeing to become their new manager. Tottenham fans are not pleased, and Domino's reminded them of this fact on Twitter. Poch is going to have to fake it when the Blues ask him why a Tottenham job's on his CV.
Tottenham Hotspur? Hotspur? No. What's that?
He apparently wants to create a family atmosphere at Chelsea. Have you seen the squad size? It's going to be Alton Towers. Apparently there was a barbecue that was set up at Tottenham. If you want to do that at Chelsea, be my guest. Romelu Lukaku will be straight over there and will have one message for the barbecue ribs on his plate.
I will destroy you. I'll dismantle you. I'll dissect you like an insect.
On the pitch though, and there were the usual struggles with a 2-2 draw versus Nottingham Forest. James Corden's funniest joke ever has been getting Todd Boehly to hire Frank Lampard. Here we have Thiago Silva's wife finding out they've drawn to a body of trees. Honestly, a tree has better movement than Chelsea right now. Meanwhile, on TikTok, and Joao Felix is struggling to say his lines.
He hates sport. Bro, come on! No, bro. What is he hate? Bro, he hates sport. Bro, he hates. Where'd you get the H from? He hates sport.
Bournemouth are officially safe in the Premier League, and after being written off at the start of the season by myself and YouTubers alike, they wanted to remind all of us what time it was.
I will never make a video ever again in my life if Bournemouth stay up.
Yeah, a couple of free transfers, not good enough. 20th place.
I agree. But Bournemouth, sorry, I've got you going down.
Bournemouth, 100% they're coming last.
Bournemouth, they're already relegated.
It's a shithousery award for the Cherries. One woman managed to find a loose season ticket in a wallet that had been dropped by an Everton fan and was trying to return it so that they could attend the rest of the games this season. Turns out that Everton fan is not keen on taking it back. Southampton have been relegated from the Premier League after an 11-year stay. Their local rivals, Portsmouth, had their say on the topic on Twitter. It's been a pretty disastrous year for the Saints, from Nathan Jones's appointment to signing players with, I'm sure, made-up names just to fill the roster. And James Ward-Prowse is going to have a message for his boss when he suggests playing in the Championship with them next season.
You can if you like, but I won't be there.
At West Ham, and they're into a European final for the first time in years after an aggregate win over AZ Alkmaar. I can't wait for them to wheel out Mark Noble to lift a trophy in Prague. I'm convinced one kid outside is in fact a 57-year-old man trapped in a child's body.
You happy with that? Was it a good performance?
That was amazing. We had the fight to come back from that. Listen, how can we lose against Alphabet FC? Listen, airport that way, Prague is this way. We're getting to that final, I'm telling you.
You had some primes, didn't you?
Not today, mate, but I just think we had...
Alright, son.
But on a serious note, and at the end of the game, West Ham players clashed with stewards after their families were supposedly being harassed in the crowd. Sickening stuff, honestly, and I hope everyone managed to get out of there okay. Now then, we move on to Europe, and over in France...
Golovin, Minamino,
Yeah, nah, this league isn't real. Neymar was in the crowd watching on as PSG played this week, giving his support to Lionel Messi, and even managed to get Luis Suarez on FaceTime. MSN reunited, but not really the same, like when they tried to relaunch MSN on the internet. I'd be careful, honestly, Day, because Louis could bite that case through the phone. Nah, I'm joking, but I'm sure I got a few little nibbles. Or a big bite in Luis Suarez's case. PSG's Kylian Mbappe met up with basketball player Victor Wembanyama, and the height difference was really something. This is what 5'11" v 6 foot looks like in women's minds. Kylian then went to the club store afterwards to get a basketball jersey, and Victor had one picked out ready for him.
Yeah. Alright, you can take this on back, try.
Staying at PSG, and a fan wearing a Spider-Man outfit hung from the top of the stadium to deliver the club's team sheets this week to the commentary box. In second place, and Lons have done incredibly well this season and guaranteed European football. Their boss has done a sensational job since getting them promoted 3 years ago, and one young Lons fan went viral a few weeks ago for the way he announced centre-back Chevin Danzo's name. Well, this week, he got a chance to do it for real. Marseille's Dimitri Payet has been banned for slapping a coach this week. Absolutely mental. Why is there always just violence in France? Yeah, so I think realistically you should have probably passed it. Oh, God. Meanwhile, there's been controversy over at Toulouse. In Ligue 1 this week, there's been an anti-homophobia campaign where all shirts have had rainbow numbers on them. Well, 5 Toulouse players refused to wear these kits, and most known was Zakaria Abouklal, who put out a statement saying he respects everyone before quite fundamentally disrespecting people who are gay. It's down to his religion, he says, which is why he's been absolutely okay wearing a betting sponsor every game. Back to Toulouse though, and Rasmus Nikolaisen has been suspended by the club too after he borrowed money from teammates for his gambling addiction, once again showing the gravity of betting in football. But he was able to at least do a lot with the money he earned from his ACCA based on his teammates getting suspended this week.
I put the helipad over there, I put my Olympic-sized swimming pool over there, the 5-bed mansion.
In Spain, and Barcelona manager Xavi has still got it. Meanwhile, Barcelona transfer chief Matteo Alemany has decided against leaving Barcelona for Aston Villa after taking a trip to Birmingham. This man compared the son of Spain to prison Birmingham and said absolutely not. Apparently, he asked a local who was very blunt in his delivery.
I live in a shithole! Do you know what I mean? Birmingham is a fucking shithole!
Real Valladolid were absolutely robbed this week, where as a ball came to one of their midfielders, he struck it home fiercely into the back of the net at the end of the first half. However, for some unknown reason, the referee decided to blow for half-time as he was striking the ball. I get it, you've gone over regulator time, but it's quite clearly going to be a strike on goal. What are you doing? They then went on to lose the game and are currently in the relegation zone. I knew I'd seen him before. Meanwhile, according to Reuters, an El Niño weather pattern is boosting the chances of spiking global temperatures in the coming months. Seems a little bit harsh to blame Fernando Torres for climate change.
Y de poder repetir en el juvenil A. Ha sido una experiencia.
Over in Italy, and Milan faced up against their ultras after a disappointing defeat to 18th in the league. These ultras were given the opportunity to explain their discontent at Milan, aiming advice at their boss on the way home.
Fucking idea! You think it's big and clever, do you, swearing and shouting at people? Can't you think it's something constructive to say?
Yeah, all right. Why don't you play 2 people up front instead of 1?
2, okay, anything else?
Yeah, you could switch Rob out on the left flank and the right, because he's a lot more...
Yeah.
Rufus and Fairbrother alongside each other up front, you've got an effective partnership of strength and skill.
Fuck off!
Yeah.
Man, I really hope that squad listened to it. In Turin, and there were a congregation of Victor Osimhen's outside the Juventus club shop. And over in Germany, Matthijs de Ligt had an interesting way to try and ensure that a goal went in training. Meanwhile, Union Berlin are on course for a record-breaking season and are celebrating in style. Now though, it's time for your goals of the week. You know the score, there's some screamers again. And we start with an absolute thunderbolt over in Kuwait and at Al Arabi. Shout out to Swansea under-21 player Corey Herford, who scored a beautiful almost solo goal with the help of a 1-2. Some beautiful flair and sensational skill involved here. And unfortunately, I don't know what team or what player has scored this next goal, but Grassroots Football has delivered an absolutely sensational acrobatic effort here. Now, Gael Clichy also scored a brilliant goal this week whilst playing over in Switzerland for Servette, scoring from the halfway line over a goalkeeper clearly off his line. However, apparently, Apparently, this information came through a DM from a fan who informed him that said goalkeeper likes to stay on the edge of his area. United fans, it's time to DM Wout Weghorst with advice. Feyenoord are Eredivisie champions for the first time in 6 years. Things were getting emotional in the crowd for a mum who lost her Feyenoord supporting son this year.
Ik had hier willen staan met mijn zoon. Maar ja, die is helaas overleden in december.
En dat was een grote Feyenoord-fan.
Ja, hij legt ook op het Feyenoordveld. Naast Christian, Jan.
Hey, listen, I'm not crying. You are. Groningen's game against Ajax was suspended after fan trouble and protests against Groningen's board following their relegation, and it's led to a little bit of added time. Meanwhile, Ray celebrated a new contract for Liam Dick with the headline Dick Extension. Who? Honestly, good for them. Great to have a hard man in defence. But at least Liam will be impressed when he looks down in his trousers. Hello all, and welcome to The Beautiful Game, the segment where we take a look at the poetic and brilliant side of the game that we love. We are back by popular demand for yet more glorious beauty. And that concludes The Beautiful Game. Over in Mexico and at Morelia, a goalkeeper by the name of Santiago Ramirez managed to score from his own penalty area to secure his side a place in the Mexican playoffs. This after saving a header from the opponent's goalkeeper. In Japan now, we've got the extremely rare triple action splash tackle. It's a day to forget for Varta Poznan's goalkeeper as he came out sweeper keeper style to get the ball cleared and didn't do a great job. Meanwhile, the best prank of the week comes from this man in Kenya who's got him good. Now he's got a run for his life. Time to move over to Indonesia though, where in the SEA Games final there was absolute chaos between them and Thailand, with the score at 2-1 into the 90th minute, and Indonesia's team and coaches think the referee's blown for full time. They start celebrating, run onto the pitch, but it turns out the referee just blew for a foul. Just 1 minute later, Thailand managed to level the score and equalise after Indonesia thought the game was already done. To celebrate, their coaching staff decide to run over to Indonesia's and celebrate in their face, causing a little bit of a scuffle. The game now goes to extra time and Indonesia make it 3-2. So their coaching staff decide to return the favour and celebrate in front of Thailand's. This causes everything to spiral out of control, with 4 red cards being dished out across the course of the match. And in the end, Indonesia managed to win 5-2.
White night in at the library. Not.
Closer to home, and Sheffield United were celebrating their promotion back to the Premier League and did so in extremely Sheffield fashion, chucking a can of beer to one of their loyal fans. Notts County are also celebrating promotion to the Football League. After a crazily dramatic run to Wembley, they managed to score yet another late equaliser to force it to extra time before winning 4-3 on pens. Honestly, the heart rate of people in Nottingham has gone through the roof. It was bad enough already. This isn't a healthy city. Meanwhile, if you think that's playoff drama, check out Sheffield Wednesday, who were 4-0 down after their first leg against Peterborough. They managed to bring it back to 4-4 with a 97th minute equaliser, and after a 5-5 aggregate score, then won on penalties. The playoffs are the greatest thing in the world. And speaking of them, Luton will play Coventry in the Championship playoff final for a spot in the Prem. Luton, who were in the non-league just 10 years ago with one of their players, Pelly Rudder-Kampanzu, and Coventry, who are bottom of the table and facing eviction at the start of the season. Their social media guy was a little bit overexcited on the pitch at full time. Honestly, I just want to see Premier League fans having to enter a semi-detached house for a football match. Do you fancy a beer, darling? Now though, for the moment you've all been waiting for, because over in Romania, and this week, I can't lie, strictly speaking, we're cheating a little bit. But we are following a side called FC Romania. It's just they don't play there. FC Romania, who play, I think, in the 8th division of English football, unfortunately, they were relegated this week. Romania just can't catch a break, no matter where they're playing. In Cyprus now, and it turns out goalkeepers over there just don't need to have any level of ball control at all to make it. In Brazil and at Palmeiras. In Colombia now, and I want to say a massive congratulations to these two mascots who are clearly in love. And staying in the nation, how about this for an own goal to lose Junior FC a chance at the title?
Match fixed.
They weren't playing in this match, but the result means they can't win the league anymore. In Ethiopia now, and what's one just slightly important skill you need to have in the game of football as a goalkeeper? Yeah, catching the ball, though. The goalkeeping ability doesn't get too much better in Armenia. I mean, look, I know it was a strong shot, but again, just catch, like, with your hands. Meanwhile, in Ecuador, and one man has taken my advice to just stop playing football a little bit too literally. Would be fantastic at a conversion in the sport of rugby, though. Now though, it's time for still 0-0, and you guys know the score by now. This is the segment of the show where I bring to the best of Sunday League and amateur football, and this time we have got a Grassroots Cup final. Now, with the score level at 2-2 and a corner for one of the sides, we are really into last-ditch territory, and any goal now wins somebody a cup crown. That is, unless the referee decides to blow for full time and extra time whilst the ball's still pinging around in the 18-yard box. Absolutely criminal. Whoever this referee is, banned him immediately. But thankfully, the side that were robbed here did go on to win the cup. On to the weird stuff though now. Back in Ecuador once again, we've got a sensational Man of the Match award being gifted out here for a player from Club Deportivo Cuenca, a massive bag of rice. Over in the Faroe Islands now, and at KI, after an injury and illness crisis that ravaged their goalkeepers, Geza Tamasturi, a 49-year-old goalkeeping coach, had to start for them in between the sticks. He's a bit of a legend at the club, or a legendary goalkeeper, generally speaking, in the area, so I'm told. But the fact he had to come in aged 49 to do a job here is crazy, especially when you realise he actually managed to keep a clean sheet. And once again, there's the ridiculous story of Swiss side FC Sion's president. With them bottom of the Super League and trailing 3-0 this week to Servette in Geneva, their president, Christian Constantin, who has been involved in so many scandals running this club, criticised their manager David Bertoni and sacked him at half-time. Their boss was therefore basically unemployed on the touchline for the second half, and Constantin even tried to scrap one of their defenders, Dimitri Cavare, from the touchline, and had to be split up by coaches and the rest of the players. I mean, I rate it, he backed himself, because apparently he's an amateur boxer, but Chelsea fans, if you thought you had it bad with Todd Bowley, it could be a lot worse. Although a lot more entertaining. That, though, is going to wrap up football this week, and I hope you have enjoyed it. If you have, then feel free to slap a like on the video, and of course, subscribe if you're new to the channel. You can also follow me on social media. It is at @officialfng on Twitter and on Insta. It's been a pleasure ranting at you guys today. Have a wonderful day, enjoy yourselves, and goodbye.